right, so then we just got to wait a second for people to filter in, and then let's make sure that this streams to the YouTube correctly.
Seems to be. I just got notified on my phone. Gun Gamers is live.
All right.
We did it!
Yay!
Okay, so we'll wait for a few people to hop into this, and then we'll be good to go. There's like 5 people watching it, and 4 of them are us. Probably all 5, because Camera Ninja's in here too.
Hey, buddy.
Hi.
There we go. We got someone in here. All right, so wait a little bit. Give it a minute, and then we'll start kicking off about that. So do you guys have anything to drink this weekend? Or for this? That's my question.
Yes, I'm sure Lane and Eric have probably talked your ear off every time you're around them, but I've got that RD1 stuff from that distillery down here in Lexington.
Yes, I have a bottle of it. Very little of it left.
Yep.
Next time I come to see you, I'm going to get like 4 of them, so it's not a problem.
For sure. I can bring a bunch up to BFR too. It's,
you know what? I may do that. So for when you come up for BFR.
Yeah, it's funny. They've got so much good stuff, but you walk in there, into the little storefront they've got. It's not where they distill it, but it's they just have a little place.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you're here to try the Amberana wood stuff? Great, everyone is. Do you want to try anything else, please?
please try something different. We do make other stuff.
It's like 80% of their sales, which is crazy.
I mean, it's good.
But it's very good.
Because it's good and it's different. That's why.
Right. Exactly. But everything else they have is really good too. And it's a cool place.
I may have to look that up and see. Maybe I'll have you grab something different too. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got 11 now. All right, so let's kick it off. We're here to review our most recent event, Trailblazer. I'm Kyle. For those of you who don't know me, Eric is not available tonight, so you're going to get the D rank presenter, which is going to be me. But then we have some great commanders here to help out with this as well. We've got Rick here, and we've got Connor as well.
Hello there.
Hey. How are you?
So we're going to be going over this event. This was this facility's first time running airsoft at this place. So it was kind of cool. It was a learning experience for us and for them. But overall, I mean, I thought it was an amazing time. I mean, what did you guys think of it?
This was my favorite GGP. Absolutely. It was so violent. And the venue, I think, just worked wonders for this. I mean, just the smaller field meant that we were just engaging all day. It wasn't too exhausting to traverse either. I really liked it.
Yeah, same. That was the most violent game I've ever played, and I've been playing airsoft for almost 20 years. That was epic.
Yeah, it was we should go the most amount of BBs we went through too. Oh my god!
Yeah, this was the BB record setter.
Yeah. For those of you who didn't hear or didn't see in the Discord, at this event we went through over 500,000 BBs. And it was a lot. We were starting to get concerned about how many BBs we had left. Luckily, they did last through all the way to the end. But the violence was measured and it was real, which is funny because, we always look at the surveys back. A lot of people are like, we needed more ammo. And I'm like, do you guys have any idea how much you went through? It was so much.
So for context, what's the second most ammo expenditure at GGP?
Second most would be definitely Overture, the first game that we did. And that had 50 more people at it. And that one went through about 400,000.
Oh wow!
50 more people.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it was tight, man. I mean, just the way the venue itself worked. I mean, with that big bowl in the middle, no one wanted to traverse it, so a lot of the fighting happened along. We're calling it the MSR, that main sort of more improved trail. So it was a lot of company on company engagements along that trail, and it just was very violent. It worked. It was crazy.
Incredibly.
No, the violence was spectacular for the entire event. It was a good time. We were sad that Amped arrived a little bit late to this one. They had some technical difficulties, but they got set up so everyone was able to get their air at, which was good. So why don't you guys walk me through both of your step-offs and how you guys like that?
Yeah. Rick, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So my step off, initially I had planned for us to go and set up an ORP and then maneuver on the Almeric forces that were setting up their survey point. We got ambushed about 10 steps in, and that slowed everything. It kind of threw the plan off a little bit, but we adapted, pushed through. I ended up sending the recon up behind you guys. We did get some film of you. I don't know if you guys saw them, but we did get something. Shout out to my recon team. You guys killed it. Appreciate that. It was that was kind of nuts in the beginning. I wasn't expecting you guys to be there.
Yeah. So we stepped off about, it wasn't more than maybe 5 minutes early, and we wanted to step off just to get like we wanted to get both Eric's LPOP position up there, which then turned into a big ambush. But it was especially to get all the engineering and survey equipment up, with the idea that, the Almeric forces were coming into this region to essentially improve this road into a highway. So we, walked out there, brought all this big engineering equipment stuff, all the big yellow boxes you might have seen, and kind of role played engineers for a few minutes, up until the Eric platoon up to our north got engaged. And then we went into fighting mode and forgot about all the LARP stuff. But I think it was a really cool way to start the day, for sure, kind of grounding the conflict into there's a tangible thing happening here. And of course, Goji was sending their recon element out to get, tangible footage of, this thing that's happening. So I at least really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And when you guys did the recon element, and there was that engagement there, I was trying to deal with our first injury of the day, which turned out not to be the only injury. And the admin vehicle actually got caught in the middle of the most brutal firefight that I have ever seen. By time it ended, both sides had overtaken the truck more than once, and there was dead bodies on every side of the truck from both sides.
Oh,
it was absolute chaos.
It was rough. Yeah, nothing you could have done about it. But the taco coming up came at just the worst possible time, because we had the 50 cal on that Jeep holding that road, and its job was covering the sector of that road you were coming up, and then over the survey equipment. And the taco came right up and just blocked that whole road for that recon element to come, basically maneuver in behind it.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, so it completely took away, our firing lane down that road and made the 50 useless. But it was a cool fight for sure. I think we eventually wound up grabbing a squad to go sort of up the hill, south up the hill, and then crash down on them. But it was actually kind of a drawn out fight for a small element against a whole.
Oh yeah, it went for a long time, because I had people screaming at me in White Cell, being like, "Where are you? Why haven't you moved?" And I'm like, "I can't. I'm surrounded by bodies."
Well, you were caught between the fighting happening there, and then of course I had the Jeep, which was
Jeep was right up the hill.
Yeah, fight blocking you on the road. So, for sure, that was a very drawn out fight.
Yeah.
Also, what was interesting is this. Both sides actually relatively slugged it out on only a little over half of the property. And that wasn't even by design. That's just kind of how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And which was crazy, because we, executed that much violence at the event. And in reality, both sides had tons of maneuvering room still, which was really nice.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I mean, the venue kind of works around that MSR.
Yeah.
Saying that sounds so wrong, because it's terrible. But the most improved trail, both of us were kind of just working around that all day. So, I mean, Almeric was kind of controlling the southern half of that, and then we were essentially just fighting over the big bridge near the relay station between the two high top hills. So we were just doing our best to kind of keep Goji pinned over onto one hill and along the roads. And I mean, we didn't see the other half of the venue until the sun went down, really.
Yeah.
Matt brought up a good question. Were there any engagements that lasted under a full hour?
Oh, yeah, probably not.
I don't think so. No.
No. Yeah, I don't think so. The last one maybe, but if we let it keep going, it might have. But the last engagement, I think you guys came onto our position about 2200, and then we fought for that final 45 minutes to an hour. But Everything was extremely drawn out and violent. Absolutely.
Yeah, it took us a little longer to get to you at night too, because I learned my lesson and I wasn't going to go down that road right into an ambush, which I knew you had. I'm like, I talked to Peter. I'm like, no way, we're not doing that. We're just going to try to go through the woods. We actually had a really fun moment where we were all in the woods and your technical went right down the road. And I told the whole company, get down. And we're literally laying in the ferns. And like the truck, I could see like the gunner looking. It just went right by our whole company.
Oh, that's badass. Was that the Jeep or was that the Ranger?
It was the Jeep.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a good point, because for the vehicles, we got to debut the HMG class at this event, which was
it was crazy.
Crazy, and I think it worked out really, really well.
Yeah. So what it allowed us to do, I mean, it's such a dense place. I mean, of course, you all saw it, but what full auto with 4s let you do was cut through that brush. It was extremely effective.
It was hard to maneuver on it. So even though I was on the receiving end, sustained.
For sure. I'm excited.
For those of you who are not familiar with what the HMG class is that we allow either a 50 that's either mounted or it has specific weight requirements for moving it up and setting it up. And then it is allowed our sniper limit and given 4s with full auto. And that sounds overpowered on the surface, but we have a low rate of fire cap. And due to the weight and how it has to be moved and transported, it actually worked out really well, because I was able to watch a number of firefights with it, and it never, like, it always did some damage, but then it was knocked out right away too. So It wasn't like overpowered and just crushing people. It seemed to be very well balanced.
Yeah, so it's like a 45-pound system per the rules of GGP. So you're either carrying that by hand with a gunner to run a tripod on, or you're putting it on a vehicle. And of course, most vehicles at GGP, unless you privately own a BTR, are unarmored vehicles. And the way that GGP's vehicles rules work is, I think, very realistic and effective, where it's a soft skin vehicle. So, one grenade, like a hand grenade, or, one tag round is going to knock the thing out, because it's just a pickup truck, So it makes it definitely a really big glass cannon. You got a crazy good gun on there, and it's maneuverable, but it's very easy to kill. And you can always just shoot the drivers out too. So I think it worked out very balanced, and it definitely beat carrying the thing by hand.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because some of those hills were brutal. We had a lot of twisted ankles at this one, unfortunately, and one injured knee. But you guys fought hard through all of it, and it was pretty good. But definitely the most twisted ankles I think we've had at any event. Oh,
I bet. Yeah,
for sure.
But also, as per normal and Eric loved, we have raffle prizes. So let's do one of those, and let's see, what do we want to give away first? That's the real question. And let's see. And let's give away one of the Spangler Forge things. Let's see, what do we got here? That looks fun. Okay, so the first up, we're going to have a Spangler Forge. Can I share this so I can show you guys what this is? I'm sure I can. Let's see. Present, and let's share the screen. Let's share screen, and then we're going to want to do a Chrome tab, select tab to share. Bear with me, technical difficulties. And I'll just share this window. That's fine. I can do this. Okay. All right, so this is the first one that we have right here that we're going to share. It's like all the little tactical cards that Spangler Forge does. So we're going to do that, get that saved up and ready to go for you guys. Let's see who is going to win it. I didn't remove all the admins, so they're probably going to pop up possibly, but let's see who won. And there we go. Dakota is the winner of the first Spangler Forge. I'm going to copy that down so we don't lose that. And let's just
congrats.
Congrats on winning your cool cards. Those range card things and with the instructions, they're really cool. I enjoy them.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, and then let's see, what do we want to cover next about this thing? Let's cover some of the improvements that we wanted to do. We talked a lot about it on the backstage about things we wanted to improve, and the number one thing we wanted to prove is to make sure we even had even more ammo on hand, because the survey result was always like, we wanted more ammo from this event. This is the first one everybody cried out for it, even though we went through the most. So we're going to bring even more ammo to our future events. And then the other thing is we want to enhance the delivery structure of how we do that on the back end. This event was really challenging for that because there was only that one MSR to get vehicles in and out, and trying to move them on foot was... Well, you were all there. You ran on foot. You saw how long it takes to move around on that place. So that's probably our big improvement that we wanted to do in regards to it. But overall, the AO, I mean, I think it did great still. I mean, what do you guys think? Any improvements or changes that you guys would want to see off of this one?
Yeah, so something regarding the ammo stuff, I know we talked a lot about it beforehand about we wanted to use, because we knew supply would be so terrible, we wanted to use like caches. So we had all of these caches with ammo spread around. And of course, we expected that by having the caches out there, we would, we could avoid having white cell come up the road. But we just burned through the caches so fast, it's like they weren't even there. So white cell was still coming up for us in the latter half of the day because we just burned through all the allotted hidden caches that we had out. So
we had about 75,000 BBs in hidden caches.
Yeah,
and it was like they weren't even there.
Right. So, I think it's a great system. It definitely allows players to, go out and find cool things and then practice land nav to find them. It's very enjoyable, and everyone that we sent on those missions had a good time. But I think more caches in the future is definitely a necessity.
Muggy said improve mud tires on the Taco. Yeah, that probably that would have helped at certain times for sure.
The only improve I had would probably be maybe to find a way to put the ammo can and the tripod for the spawn beacon on that rucksack. It would just make my life a little easier. And then that's
an improve that we're looking into, and then we're looking at actually improving for the 24-hour event how the water system is going to work. So it's going to be even easier for you guys because the players, good for you. You drank a lot of water, but also for the back end for me moving around. Oh my God, you guys drank a lot of water. And it was a lot. It was well over 100 gallons that you guys went through on top of all your water that you brought in as a red line item. So you guys were drinking lots of water and staying hydrated, which is good. And Eric Fromm was talking about how much water he went through there, and it's a lot. We went through a lot of water on that one. Okay. So later on in the event, it's kind of hit midday. Like how was it flowing for you guys? I noticed there was like a lot of big firefights around that one central control point up there that we had.
Yeah. So the way it really wound up working out was it just turned into company meeting engagements. The venue is so dense and tight up there, and we were in such a condensed area because we both wanted that, the radio relay station. So we were both just throwing our companies at each other for the most part. And then we'd fight till both of us kind of ran out of ammo and then back off and then wait for resupply and then crash into each other again. It was just incredibly violent.
Yeah. So it took us a while. It took Goji a while to get off of the first objective. So after we took, I forget what you guys called it. We had called it Objective Sparrow, where you guys are doing your LARP thing with the survey equipment. It took us a little while to get off of that objective, and that's why you guys pushed us down the hill a little bit. After that, we reconsolidated for a bit, and then I had a moment where I thought you guys were trying to funnel us back into a kill zone. So I'd actually started to send my guys down the hill, and then I looked at Ben, and I kind of had this epiphany. I'm like, they're moving us that way. They're pushing us on purpose. And maybe you were, maybe you weren't. But I'm glad I made the right call to go up to where we started to fight each other. I guess it was right by the relay station.
Yeah.
Where it was a fake objective you had in your fake intel that I thought was kind of cool.
That's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, it took us a while to get up there, but once we did and we had that foothold, shout out to the Goji team. I know you guys were really exhausted once you got up there, but you guys fought through, and tactically there were times we should not have won, like gotten anywhere near where we did, but you guys made it happen. Again, just intense violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And without props to everybody who had a tag, and I know our PSG Kevin kept taking out your trucks left and right. Without that would have been a much harder fight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they are easy to kill, but there's such a there's just sort of a morale thing to seeing those around. Yeah. Again, they're easy to knock out, but you see it coming, and it's like, oh my God, So Yeah, I mean, similar experience on our end. You know, we were fighting up and around. We called it Objective Turnpike. Was all of the engineering stuff,
Right.
And then I actually pulled because we were worried you were going to send just a big breakthrough element to go past what was on the road you were initially ambushed by the Erics.
Mhm.
We were worried you were going to break through that. So I actually pulled my first platoon up from Objective Turnpike, left that, and we went up, and they were actually occupying what we call Objective Walkman, the radio relay station for most of the day. So once we hadn't seen you for a bit, we went ahead and pulled the Eric platoon up that way as well. We had them set up an LPOP a little bit northeast in the woods from the radio relay station, and we had first platoon set up on the station. And then when you came down that trail to come and attack your fake objective, you bumped into the Eric platoon, and they fixed you. And then my first platoon came from the relay station and just pushed through in an L shape, and it worked. It was a great fight.
A great maneuver too. Like
yeah,
you could have pushed. You could have easily pushed us into that part of the field where we'd have been stuck and we wouldn't be able to get out. I was really worried about that.
Yeah, and then you guys disengaged, and I think you guys just went north, and then you guys came back down in company strength again. And that's when we just kind of smashed into each other for a little while until we both ran out of ammo.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, just a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. So I actually have a good question for everyone in the stream who's watching this. This event probably had the most amount of blank fire of any event that we have run. What did you guys think of that? How did you feel about that? Because, I mean, I like it. I like the immersion and hearing them go off, especially in the distance. But I'm curious what all the players feel about that. Okay, we got two people. Fields fan. Blank fire good.
I agree. Blank fire good.
I think it's an absolute right. And it's like so much immersion, especially when if an ambush kicks off when all of a sudden you just hear the blap 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 blap.
Mm-hmm.
It's
well, it's important for just knowing where fighting is occurring.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, knowing when a sister element is engaged or when an ambush is kicked off, it's a really big deal. So it helps a lot.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Literally everyone is saying big sustain on that, so that's great. Escape from Tarkov effect. All right. Yeah, okay. So that's good. I'm glad everybody likes those. We thought they were really cool and stuff like that. Ian, I see your comment on there. So, that's something we always consider on the back end, but right now we do keep them staff only because it's easy for us to manage. And yep, everybody likes the blanks. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, now, since you participated, we're going to raffle off something else. And let's do the other card from Spangler Forge here. Pull that up. And who's in this chat? Let's see. So let's see. And present and... Screen. Did it go? Did I not just? Oh no, I just got to add it back to station. All right, sorry, mentally challenged. We're figuring it out. All right, so the next one we have is the individual skills. Also really good. Eric has all of these, and this one has the radio frequencies on it too, which is so helpful because I can't tell you how all of you have a Baofeng, and all of you are asking what is the radio channel. This will have your answers. So, all right, so let's pick a name, see who we got. Robert Pepper, you are the winner of these.
Congrats.
Congrats. These things are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, and then let's take that off because you don't need to stare at this empty raffle thing. Okay, stop. And remove your name. There we go. Cool. All right. Let's see. Lots of questions here. Let's see, represented. So, how did you guys feel like running the LARP units? How did that work out for you guys?
Yeah, so Almeric definitely has less of a culture for it than Goji's developed. But Almeric's got the whole home guard thing, and they've got the Eric's little group, the 6 STG, and it actually worked out pretty well. It was really cool. So the way it sort of de facto worked was that the home guard stuff was kind of all on first platoon, and it was a lot of people that were really into it, and then some people that would just throw on the armband and call it home guard, which is totally cool.
Yeah.
And then Eric's more elite second platoon was kind of all running more high speed guns and stuff, and they were kind of the 6 STG group. It was a lot of fun. But seeing all the stuff on the Goji end was very neat. You'd see a unit, and I'd hear the intel be passed up, and it's like, oh, it's this group. It was super cool.
Yeah, I think it was 4G SOD was my recon squad. I need to learn more of the lore. I know I'm really bad, especially as a commander, and all the LARP groups need to get more into that. But I had a 3G SOD patch, and I tried to follow those guidelines. But yeah, no, it's definitely a big thing on Goji. And it was very cool. Part of the identity.
It was very cool when I get like reports passed up of like what people are seeing. It's like, oh, they see a black uniform. It's like, cool, that's just the recon element. It's not the main company.
We had the same thing coming up through us. We'd hear, a couple guys are taking pop shot at us. I'm like, yeah, it's home guard. Don't worry about them. It's what they do.
Yeah, it's what they do. Yeah, small units and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Which yeah, for sure. So it was neat. We actually just wound up making a bunch of armbands because the home guard kit guidelines it's like nothing. It's like half a page of slight guidelines to look moderately kind of militia, right? So the big thing is just having that armband. So the idea is you were thrown a uniform shirt and like just whatever gun out of the back of a truck and just told to go fight. So as long as you got the armband, pretty much anything you do is fine. So we had like 20 something armband guys out, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, having those groups is really good, especially when they're really easy to get into like that. And the best part is if you don't want to be a part of those groups, you don't have to. We have like a whole little culture with it, and it's great. And especially, you can integrate, be like, yeah, be a part of the home guard, throw your armband on, you're the militia now, go fight. But conversely, if you're not into that and you're like, hey, I want to run a keg impression, or I want to run, an RR impression, or whatever it is, all of that perfectly good at our event. So it gives people so many options for kit that they want to run.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's something I think about all the time, is just how much this event system has opened up cool guns to me again, because for the longest time, I don't live anywhere near any local fields. So for the longest time, all I did was Milsim West. So I have NATO guns and Rust 4 guns.
Yep.
But GDP has opened up this whole world to me of like, oh, really cool kit and really cool guns. And it's my favorite thing.
Yeah, that's like our one of our big things when we were designing the rule set is we wanted to have like pretty much any style and pretty much any gun, you can run it in some way or configuration. Like there's a way to make it work. And we allow, I think we're one of the only places that not many places have a DMR class. Not many places have the full auto shotgun class, which haven't seen someone run yet, and I'm a little disappointed in that. I may just have to get one and run it at our own event sometime, because it would be a riot.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And the IAR class, I don't see, at least I'm not aware of it anywhere else.
No, I don't think anyone runs an IAR class. It just doesn't
I don't
exist.
think so. Yeah.
And then we have the platoon intelligence class. Basically, like any kind of cool airsoft setup you can think about, we generally have groups of classes that you can run it into, which is great. And you're not like shoehorned into weird builds just to like meet a meta or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a big fan. I was running a submachine gun all week or all day, and it was a very good time. I like the rules a lot.
I need to change up my player class. I only ever use that one or that one. So I got to try something a little different.
Yeah, it was fun. The Papa Shah worked great, but man, just running stick mags for it, I was just it shoots so fast. I was completely out of ammo after like a few good bursts. But
maybe I'll run an M60 or not my M60. I'm looking at my M60 across the room. Maybe I'll run that.
You
maybe
could.
At Shadows. I could.
You want to haul that up the hill? Someone's got to do it. So you need that MMG in your group.
That's true. Chat, what do you think? M60 at Shadows?
We
Should
just
I do it
in the back of the Ranger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I might. We'll see. Maybe an AK. I don't know. Maybe.
All right. So actually, you know what? I have another. Okay. Yeah, we got 2 for the M60. So we're going to say yes on the M60. That's good.
All right.
For me.
I'm bringing it. It's coming.
3.
It's an Inakatsu M60. It's old. It's
you have
old.
an Inakatsu?
I do. I have an Inokatsu M60 with an old fusion engine in it that Airsoft Junkies rebuilt for us. We had this. My team had this made a long time ago by Captain Bingo from Bingo Works Airsoft.
Okay,
big throwback.
That's yep.
So this thing's amazing. It's old. It has history. Yeah, it's coming out. I'm doing
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So as per normal, we always raffle off a pair of tickets, and every time we ask, do you want to do them together, or do you want to do them separate? So why don't you guys let me know in the chat which way you're going to do that, and then we'll keep moving along here with this.
Real ones remember Bingo. That's right. I have
Yes.
a chat up on my phone in here. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's going. It's going way, way, way back. A
Yeah.
lot of us in GGP have been running games or at games for a very long time.
Oh yeah. 2008 is when I started. God, I'm old.
Yep.
I had a player come up to me. He saw my patch, like my Dog's War patch that established 2008. He's like, "Oh, that's the year I was born." I'm like, "Oh God, no, I'm so old."
I was probably playing backyard airsoft in 2008. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We got a couple of separates. I'm gonna give you guys a second longer weigh in, or we're gonna be separate. I don't think anyone's asked for them together yet. Which last one we did together, which is so. Yeah, Matt started in 2004. I started realistically in 2000 and somewhere between 2005, 2006 era is where I started. I got a Springer in 2004, but then I actually started playing in like 2005. I had to order a TM G36C from Japan.
Nice.
That's how it was back then. There wasn't. I don't even know if e-bike existed back then.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, we're going back to like 6 or 7-year-old me, but I was definitely playing in the backyard around that time, you know? Yeah, wow.
I think I had an Echo 1 G36C that I thought was so cool back then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And everybody had one of those. They were cool.
All right. So we're going to go with more. We're separate. So we're going to add back to the screen here. Share screen. And share. Okay. All right. So let's see who wins our first ticket. It's probably going to be Staff, because this would be the one to do it on. Let's see. No, it is not. It's Matt Farnsworth. You have won a ticket.
Hey, congrats.
Hey, and let's see. Way here. And now let's do the other one. See, I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. Sorry, Jacob, you're out of luck. Jacob doesn't get to win. Come on. Oh, thank God. Okay. All right. And Grayson, you have won the other ticket.
Congrats.
Congrats. It's going to be a fun time. All right. Oh, shit. I spun it again. We're raffling something else. No.
It's happening.
Yep. We don't know what it is, but it's something.
We don't know what it is. We're going to find it out. Someone's going to win something. All right, Willem, you have won something. Let's see. Hang on. Give me 1 second. We're going to figure out what you won. And let's see here. Oh, do we want to give that away? Do we want to give William the best prize?
If it's next on the list, I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
All right, William, you have won what I consider, well, both of the last prizes are really good. William, you have won a plate carrier from Engage Tactical.
Ooh,
and it is
nice.
A super cool plate carrier because on one side it is Duck Hunter and the other side it is Flectart. So you could be Goji or Almeric. Either side you're good to go on.
That's awesome.
That's
the only plate carrier I own now, other than my garbage IOTV for keg, is Engage. It's very good stuff.
Yeah, Engage, he does all of our custom work. He does our prototype work for other projects. I mean, good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, did I not copy? That's fine. I'll pull that there. So, all right, let's copy your info, William. Let's see. Click here. Plate carrier is awesome. All right, so let's see. What else do we have? You know what? Let's ask some questions. Do you guys have any questions in the chat about anything that we would want to go over? Oh, also for, yeah, William is your guy. We'll reach out and contact him via email because he'll be on the roster. And then we'll set him up so he's good to go with a coupon code that he can use. Oh, he's going to be at Shadows? Oh, sweet. Did he buy his ticket yet? Oh, here's a good question from Eric. As first-time COs, what surprised you the most in your experience and what you thought the game would go and how it really went?
Ooh, you want to take this one, Rick?
Yeah, sure. So even though I've been playing Airsoft for a really long time, this was my first official command. Overall, I was actually, really impressed. I had solid leadership, not just with staff, but the squad leaders. You guys were awesome. The players, like you guys did everything that I asked of you. I need to work on pivoting a little bit. For example, I wasn't expecting to get punched right out of the gate like that, and we did. But we did adapt through that pretty quick. But the recovery was a bit slow for me. So maybe a little bit more adaptability and maybe more contingency planning. Also, I'm really sorry. I'm really bad at answering my own social media. So more activity in the Discord for me. That's an improvement personally for me. Yeah, that's my big thing. Connor, what about you?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've been leading at the platoon level at Milsom West and at GGP for a while, and my only experience at the company level was actually just when when Jim and Lutz were COing for NATO at Balcar. I just tagged along just to learn whatever I could. Yeah, man, I think pivoting is a great point. I think I did it. It took me a second to for my brain to turn on to realize I should pivot, but right at the beginning, I had planned. When you got ambushed the first time up on that main road, I sort of planned to draw you down into a second one. And when
I knew it.
Yeah. And when it became clear that you weren't coming that way, I thought, okay, he's definitely just bypassing me. I need to get my whole company up onto the top of the hill before he does and block him on the high ground. But the gears had to turn for 5 or 10 minutes. I was just sitting there is he going to bypass me? What's he going to do? So I think exactly what you're saying. Learning when to pivot, right?
Yeah.
And not to overcommit on that pivot, I think is a big thing that I need to learn, right? Because when you're looking at this on a map and you're studying it from afar, it's easy to think okay, naturally they're going to do this, but when they don't do that, what do you do?
Right. So what I'm hearing is if we had moved off of that ORP faster, we would have gotten to the top of the hill before you did.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, I planned on actually. So the Erics and their ambush worked much better than I thought. Because it was a 30-man element. It wasn't that big. So the plan was to have them as an LPOP. They'd hit you a little bit and then withdraw, and they would form the L shape off the first platoon over the engineering equipment. Right. So the thought was draw you right into that, and then ideally push you back out into the big field, but it never came down that way. So it was okay, let's get up to the high ground before they do.
Yep. Smart move.
Yeah. But yeah, I think exactly. Yeah. Learning when to pivot is very important.
Yeah, that could definitely be, that's a good one. Let's see. We got another question. Will you guys be coming back to the Midwest anytime soon? We haven't booked our 2025 AOs yet. We are evaluating a lot of facilities. There's a lot of different places, a lot of new places that we're working on as well, because we're always trying to find new places. But if you are aware of any cool places in the Midwest that, people aren't playing Airsoft at, or you think is the best place ever, shoot us the info on it, reach out, contact us, and we'll be sure to review it. There's always so many options out there, and we got to pick and choose what makes the most sense for us.
Yeah, me and Will, all two Kentucky GGP enjoyers. We'll be there.
Okay, and let's see. So our next event that we're going to be hosting after this one is going to be Shadows. And now Shadows is kind of like this event, but then turned up to 11 in the sense, instead of it being 12 hours of violence fighting up and down a mountain, it's going to be 24 hours of violence fighting up and down a mountain, also with vehicles. So there's going to be some similarities for sure. But I mean, it's also going to be very different. Now, Rick, you played at Ascension last year, didn't you?
I did. That was my first game as staff, actually.
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, how do you guys feel about BFR and in comparison to where this game just was?
Well, I was in the dreaded Ford Ranger that whole last game, so I didn't have to walk those hills. So,
I did.
Yeah, I'm sure Rick might be able to answer better, but I think BFR is an amazing venue, and there's so much space up at the top of that hill that we didn't really touch too much of at Ascension that I personally would love to be up on the top of this whole time. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, BFR is great. It's one of the coolest places I've played on. Get your cardio in before you go. Those hills are no joke. They are no joke. Holy crap! And Connor, you're right. We didn't even see a big part of it. The day before, like I think it was Friday. Yeah, that Friday before Ascension, we went and drove around the AO just to scope it out. And there's a whole beautiful hilltop we didn't get to.
Oh, it's insane, and it's
because
huge.
Almeric literally pushed us down a cliff. I was on Goji for that, which was an interesting position to put us in. But no, it's going to be really fun to go back there, I think. I'm excited.
And the place is big enough that 24 hours is going to work wonderfully. I think
absolutely.
Space.
Yep. Yeah, by comparison, we just did a 12-hour game for Trailblazer, and we used about half of the facility, a little over half of the facility was actively in use for the chaos that we're causing. So, we used a little bit over like 120 acres, and we had more access to more space if we needed it. It just didn't flow that way. BFR is 1,100 acres. And last time, if you were at Ascension, it felt like we used a lot of it, but in actuality, we used less than half of it. And they both have hills, but they are widely different venues. And I won't ruin any surprises, but we're going to be visiting new and exciting places for those of you who come out, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. So I remember last year at Ascension, we did, we fought up at the shoot house, and then we did a lot of fighting over the airfield. And then from there, Almir tactically pulled back to the top of that hill and then fought you as you tried to climb up it. But the space at the top of that hill is enormous. It's huge. It's like half the venue. So there's so much room up there that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to try and give anything away, but on average, I would say the fighting area that's going to happen at Shadows is going to be less hilly than at BFR. So if you're scared because of the hills, you're going to be okay. It's just more about making sure you're mentally prepared by the fact that it will get dark out for a few hours.
Yes.
And also, we have a lot of comments about this, that we've got fighting in the dark. Now, and a lot of people, they don't have night vision. They've said, hey, I can't be competitive if I don't have night vision. Now, I know watching the people who came off the field at the end of the day, a lot of them did not have nods. How did you guys see it playing out for everyone that it was at there for Trailblazer?
So actually, my nods were in the Ranger, and the Ranger got commandeered to run ammo to Goji. So I didn't have nods for that last section of Trailblazer. So I was, as the CO, running around with naked eye, and I did fine. It's completely fine.
So I own nods, but I own budget nods. I have a PVS 5 tube and a PVS 14 3D printed housing. And I played most of my life without nods. Nods are cool, but you know how you defeat nods? A flashlight. And once the BBs start flying, game over. They're not that effective. Just turn your white lights on.
No, nods are a navigation tool.
Exactly.
Traditional green night vision, that is a navigation tool.
100%.
Fighting in it, you can do, and you can get really good at it.
You
I
can.
suck at it. But a coordinated white light assault is
Yeah.
so deadly.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even worry about if you don't have nods, don't worry about it. And I've played some games where there's one guy at the head of a squad and it's pitch black. He's got nods. Literally, I've conga lined it through woods where everyone grabs onto each other, so you don't lose people because that's more important than anything else. And then you get to where you're going, and then you fight, and everybody turns their lights on because they know where you are.
Yep.
And just play.
So
nods are super cool. They can be very helpful, but you don't need them.
What will be important, and try and coordinate with your squads on it, is cat eye bands, because that shit, they really work. If you could just slap cat eyes on your helmet or your hat or whatever you're wearing, on your headband, right? That really helps, because again, nods are your navigation tool, and failing that, you have to conga line. If it's really dark, that is your conga line assistant tool. So cat eye bands are going to be hugely helpful. And then for the actual fighting, it's just white lights. That's all you need to do. Even at places like Milson West, where you might have more nods per capita, half the fighting is still done with white light. It's all that has to happen.
Well, actually, at Ascension last year, which was also at BFR, the last firefight, American Forces had the most comical powered light that they used on the shoot house to blind for their assault on it. Yeah, the Oppenheimer. And that was actually so bright that the people on the other side, they couldn't even use their nods. They just had to flip them up because it was worthless. So, you can just use white light, and it's actually easier to learn that than learning on nods, because nods have a huge learning curve that you just have to spend a lot of time with them if you want to become good with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you guys remember at Ascension, when Almeric was coming up to the shoot house, you guys got ambushed on that apex of that turn.
Yep.
That was my squad that did that, and none of us had nods.
Yep.
We set that whole thing with no nods and executed without it. They're cool. They're not necessary.
It's a navigation tool. And as long as you have like one guy in your squad or your platoon leader's got him, it's fine. Again, cat eye bands is what you need, really.
Yep, 100%.
Okay. All right. So I guess let's see. It's 8:45 now. I'm going to open it up for any more questions for a couple of minutes, either in regards to Trailblazer or upcoming for Shadows. So let us know that, and then we'll raffle off the final other item, which is also super, super cool, and also from Spangler Forge.
Wendigo Airsoft, thank you for that comment in the chat. I just happened to look down and see that. I'd love to fight with you again too, man. Thank you so much.
Oh gosh, yeah. Second Platoon's Oppenheimer has really put in some work, man. It was great.
Oh, the Oppenheimer was absolutely great.
Oh, it's the best. It's especially the best when you yell it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's right. Hang on, I'm gonna put this up because this is a real story that happened. That thing puts off so much heat that it accidentally turned on and started a fire.
Holy crap!
Ooh. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's great. That's terrible. No,
wow. Serious business flashlight. So they changed it, so now they have like a disconnect that they do with that light because it's comical.
A legit safety concern now. Holy crap!
Oh man.
All right. So any other questions? Come on, hit us up. We got an event coming up. We just finished one up. What do you got for us, guys?
I got a couple Goji dads in there. Hi, Goji children.
I would
base their entire person.
I'm going to hazard a guess. I think green beans is the next thing.
I feel like green beans would be a perfect choice.
Yeah, the beans, the oysters were one thing that was nasty, but the beans, people were actually eating that shit, and it was decent. But the green beans, they're pretty hit or miss. I mean, you're not going to catch me eating a can of raw green beans, but
I might.
I might.
There were definitely some people eating your bean tail.
Oh yeah, the bean. Yeah, everyone was eating. Everybody was eating the bean tail, man. That's
the bean tail was great.
Yeah.
All All right. So no other questions. All right. Well, then we're just gonna send it and do one more cool ass raffle then.
Real quick, somebody mentioned something about the tag and mortar. Do you guys know? So I'm a mortarman. I was a mortarman in the Army National Guard, as you guys know. So I love everything mortars. If anyone knows when it's coming out or if it ever will, I've only seen one in person in the US. I would love that. Like that would be my airsoft thing forever, to carry a 60 millimeter mortar with me. Like if anybody knows anything, like, please tell me.
I can chip in a little bit. I think because of the fact that Taggin got, Airsoft Pyrotechnics got PP slapped by by the government. Yeah. I think that is indefinitely on hold because they don't the projectile Taggins still aren't even approved again yet. They only just got the grenades approved, most of the grenades.
Yeah, and this thing can launch like 200 meters and then pops. So
believe me, I want it.
I
want it at our games. I want to be people.
I
want to have a mortar team causing chaos and just thump and then just sending them out at them.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lutz says it's not safe to say mortar around me. Lutz, you are correct.
All right, here's a good question for you guys.
Tips for utilizing white light effectively in a firefight. Turn it on, shoot, and then move.
It definitely requires a lot of coordination.
Yes.
It's something that happens a lot with whether you just don't have an idea of what's going on in the battle space or you're newer to it, but backlighting can be a huge issue. So if you're coordinating with your squad and ideally your platoon leadership to push your squads out into different directions and just white light the shit out of certain directions, it works very well. I mean, Lutz, you were there. Remember when Eric white light assaulted us at Balcar and it was the worst thing ever? So that was being on the receiving end. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, you just couldn't see anything. Nods were completely useless. And it was very coordinated in that there were different squads coming around and blasting us from certain angles, right? And so being on the assaulting end of that is it requires some coordination so you aren't just blasting your own guys with the lights, but it really works.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not familiar with what backlighting is, it basically means that if you're advancing or whatever it is, and you have an ally in front of you, do not shine your light through him and illuminate him, because as someone who is shooting back at those people, they will love that because you're basically just creating a perfect silhouette in the darkness for them to be like, yep, that's my guy. Yep. And I have killed so many people in airsoft because their buddies decided to backlight them. So many people. Mm-hmm. So when you're using a white light, just don't light your friends up at the same time. And then that will greatly improve your odds of survival of your friends and by proxy yourself.
Yeah. And that just comes down to coordinating too, like with platoon leadership of, what squad should be where and, when you all white light at the same time.
Yep.
Okay. And let's see. IWA is working on something. Okay. Or KWA, IWA. IWA is apparently working on some kind of mortar thing or something, it looks like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more mortars?
Apparently. I want more mortars.
Mortars.
Matt Lutz with the most important questions always.
I don't know why they would, frankly. It's the best. I love LARPing as a Wolf Cola factory employee that just got forcefully conscripted off the factory floor, and here I am. But
okay, and let's see. All right, so you know what? And all right, I think it's time to raffle the final item. So let's share a screen here, and I can actually have this up on the screen, so it's perfect. Yes, please share. So this is a custom knife by Spangler Forge and a cool patch. He makes some sweet ass fucking knives. Highly recommend. I have a bunch of different knives. I don't have any by him yet. And his stuff is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get one.
I everyday carry one of Spangler's knives. It's great.
I need to buy one.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, so let's switch over and let's see what we got. Let's see who's going to win that sweet ass knife. Tyler has won the knife. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Nice, man.
Okay. And we'll reach out. We will contact you in regards to that so you can get your stuff and we can get that sent out to you. Let's see. And I want to thank our sponsors, which is definitely Spangler Forge, for giving us all this cool stuff. He had 3 of the raffle items. Definitely go buy his shit. He makes awesome stuff, and it's great. The cards you can actually buy on his Etsy shop, which is really nice. And then obviously he does custom orders. He has in stock, and he makes stuff as well. So that's really good. And then Matt Hay, Engage Tactical. He does amazing work. If you have stuff that like you want made, but doesn't exist anywhere in the market, he's going to be your go-to solution for that. I mean, our group has so many of his chest rigs, backpacks, plate carriers, pouches. I mean, we have a lot of his kit in our collection. He makes good stuff.
Matt Hay made my wallet that I use every day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the best. And
Okay.
Spangler made my knife that I carry every day. So it's all good stuff.
Okay, so there you go. Spangler's offering friends pricing. Go buy his stuff. He makes cool stuff. Okay. All right. Any last questions before we wrap this up? Anyone? Here's your last chance, guys. Otherwise, the next time you're going to see us is going to be at Shadows, BFR. It's going to be a great time.
I might just be hungry, but I think I've come to another conclusion on the canned food thing. And I think it needs to be beefaroni.
Beefaroni. Oh. That's not fair. Of course, beefaroni wins.
Well, and that would actually like keep people sustained and be a morale.
It would.
I'm all for the beefaroni.
I think beefaroni is the answer.
Okay.
All right, Almeric, you know what you have to do. You have to base your personality around beefaroni. It's the only way.
None of the other ones are good. That's the only like half decent Chef Boyardee thing. But
so it looks like we had a question about the best MRE, which is
the
chili
spaghetti one.
Chili Mac. I'll throw hands for Chili Mac.
I'd buy Chili Mac. That's good.
Chili Mac is excellent. I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I've had an MRE. Oh, you know, the breakfast ones are pretty good. The
gravy. Yeah, that one's.
Yes.
Yeah.
I try to avoid them whenever I can, but if I have to eat one, Chili Mac.
Yeah, it's going to be Jim versus Lutz, man. It's a classic matchup.
And I hate to say it, everybody who played with me on Goji, I will be Almeric for this one. At Shadows.
Yes, Rick and I have healed our differences.
Yes.
Yeah, we like to switch up the commanders and who's on what side as much as we can for our events to keep variety and keep it fresh.
Oh yeah, you still haven't made me play Goji yet. It's been like 4 games.
I know, we're trying.
At some point, it's got to happen.
It's got to happen. And then and then Matt, of course, he's ready. He's ready in his heart and his soul to fight Jim once more.
Oh yeah. They're definitely not best friends.
Definitely not.
No,
definitely
they hate
not.
each other.
Yeah. Okay. 16. Okay. And all right. What do we got here?
The Ford Ranger.
Ford Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be the answer to this question. Oops. The way you guys just sent that around that facility and it survived is amazing.
It's shocking. I
love that
it survived everything else we've thrown at it, which is shocking for it.
One day that truck is gonna die a terrible death.
It's just gonna die. It's just gonna stop. Like, I've had enough. I'm done. Screw these airsofters. I'm done with this abuse.
I was worried, honestly, when it got really stuck in the middle of the day. But I mean, it's been through worse. So
is that when we pulled it out with like the traction boards?
Oh yes, it's when we pulled it out with the traction boards. I actually at one point we in the middle of the day it got stuck again. So we just, nothing was really going on. So we just deployed a whole squad just to like, hey, can you guys go help lift out the Ranger? So
because it was on a stump, right?
What's that?
It was on a stump, wasn't it, or something?
It was on a stump, yeah. So we just sent a whole 9-man squad to just like, hey, you guys want to go lift up the Ranger and get it unstuck? Great. And apparently they got in a good firefight on the way, which is awesome. So
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that you can't ask for more. You got a cool objective, and you got to get into a fight for it. I mean, yeah.
The ultimate GGP Frago.
How many times did traction boards get used? A lot.
A horrible amount.
The only vehicle that didn't use the traction boards is that Jeep, which had like 35-inch mud terrain tires
No,
on
yeah,
it.
the Jeep was built for it. Absolutely.
The Wrangler's peak home guard technique. Well, the Wrangler needs to come out for shadows.
It does.
Yeah.
We can't do it alone, Ian.
Yeah. I want to see more technicals. I believe, I'm not promising, but I believe the Humvee is coming out for the event next month. And I don't know, there was another Humvee, but I don't think he's coming out for this one. I'm not sure. But I think we should have at least one Humvee.
Yeah, and the Ranger will be back too.
Yeah.
But the Jeep, man, we could use the Jeep again. It's kind of the best.
This is real. This is
Yeah,
real.
honestly, yeah, you guys should see that the staff chat is just, it's half important stuff, and the other half is like, check out this truck nearby for like, $2,000.
Yeah. How do we do this? How do we get this piece of junk down there and just bomb it around until it explodes? Yeah, that's what the chat is like. Let's see. Did it? Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I think, you know what? We're coming up on an hour here. I think that pretty much should wrap it up. Spoiler, the 50 will return. The 50 is definitely going to return.
It's
and
I have it.
It will be committing murder. It's what it's going to do. I'm sorry for anyone on the receiving end of that, but not really, because it's awesome. Okay. All right, so I think that wraps it up. It's been a pleasure having you guys on here. I've been Kyle.
Well, I was Connor.
Was Connor. Yep. My English is great. The whiskey is helping.
Yep. I'm Rick.
Currently still is Rick.
I
currently still is Resk. I'm picking a new name. I'm working it out. We'll figure it out.
And until all the Goji guys get really mad at me for going Almeric, and then they eliminate me at Shadows.
No,
then I won't be Rick anymore.
Someday I'll play Goji.
We'll get you over there. You know what? It'll be. I'm telling you now, it's going to be the first one after the LARP one that's not a winter game, and hopefully it's going to be at a place that has some divots in the ground.
Right.
That's what we're hoping for.
Non-permissible for vehicles, you might say.
Yeah, you might say that. You might say that. But that's all we will reveal. And I wish you all well. It's been a blast, guys. See ya.
All right.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
In a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See you then.